Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Good evening, Hannah. How are you?
Good evening. I am well, and how are you?
You all rested up being on vacation for
I don't
two
know.
weeks?
Oh, I could use a couple more days.
Right. Oh, thank you for joining us. Hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. I know we have listeners that aren't in the States either, so I hope you had a great weekend last weekend, wherever you were doing. We appreciate you coming back. Got a lot to get to. Thankfully, a lot of news didn't really drop last week, more so this week, so we'll go over a couple little news bits and then get into the finale of Andor, which came out just over a week ago. So we had a lot of time to let it sit and marinate, and we got a lot to just go over with that. But first off, as always, thanks to our patrons for sticking with us and all that you support us with. Of course, anybody wants to join Patreon, go to patreon.com/InsideTheForce. Check us out there. And we really, really appreciate everybody that contributes on there. So thank you. Okay, first bit of news, Hannah. Let's see. We've got a couple of these things. One, I guess, decent-sized one as we talk about series, Star Wars Disney Plus series, The Acolyte.
Yes.
Which is currently in production. So this is kind of, I'm about to mention the same thing you read, which was actress Daphne Keane, who we mentioned as part of the cast. She was in the movie Logan, the younger X-23 in Logan. Anyway, she's out there promoting a new movie. And was asked about The Acolyte. So I feel like she kind of said maybe a little too much, but
oh no. What did she say?
So so you didn't read that part.
I did not read that part.
Okay, so what she said, well, you probably read what they said, they wrote about what she said. But this is where it came from. So they asked her about how, can you tease anything, or can you talk about anything? And she says, well, I can tease that it's a prequel. Mm-hmm. She goes, and then she went on to say, I mean, as you know, it's set 100 years before the prequel movies. Now that we did know. Mm-hmm. And she goes on to say, and it's a kind of an explanation of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi.
Yes, I did read that. I'm trying to figure out, where did I read that?
So that's probably this is probably where it came from. She says, it's a Sith-led story, which has never been done before. It's been really fun to film. The cast is amazing, and the director and crew are just lovely. The whole experience is wonderful, and I'm really excited for people to see it.
Oh.
So, but that's the line, right? It's a Sith-led story about how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi.
I feel like I saw that on Disney Plus, though.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm trying to find it. That's why I'm like, where did I read that?
Okay, well then it's possible she could be repeating maybe what Disney had put out, but I had not seen anything like that yet.
I have no idea, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this.
Yeah, I'm probably guessing you saw maybe an article or something like that based on this interview.
It sounds like it.
So anyway, Sith-led story, which
yes,
to be honest, that shouldn't be surprising because the show is called The Acolyte, which acolytes are part of the Sith followers and stuff like that. So you would kind of guess that that's what's going to be already. Now, the infiltrating the Jedi is a little confusing to me, a little bit.
I feel a lot better with you saying that because I felt the same. And you're right. I saw it on the Star Wars fan page. It does feel weird because even when we come to the Phantom Menace, they haven't really. Palpatine hasn't infiltrated the Jedi yet,
No.
especially with the confirmation of Tales of the Jedi. That doesn't really happen with Dooku until later on.
Right.
Wait,
No, right.
oh, no, roughly the same time, actually, as Phantom Menace. But even then, we have no signs of the Jedi being infiltrated before that.
No. Yeah.
So maybe it's a failed attempt?
Yeah, this could, the only thing I can start to think about on that part is maybe a Jedi comes across, the Sith or an Acolyte, and that Sith is trying to turn them almost and become like an agent of the Sith and still be part of the Jedi, where they're kind of fishing information or something like that. I don't, that's the only thing I can think of, because I don't know. Infiltrating means you're becoming a spy, right? Or you're trying to figure out what the Jedi are doing so you can know best how to defeat them.
Right.
I just don't. So maybe that's it. Maybe there's an apprentice somewhere that turns evil, but they stay inside the Jedi acting good. I don't know. But you would think that they would sense that.
Yeah, because even Yoda was like, oh, the dark side. And Mace is like, oh, the dark side surrounds us, And even we reviewed the book, Dark Disciple.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, Obi-Wan was feeling the dark side's influence.
Yeah.
And again, no one could feel Palpatine's. And it's pretty clear in the book that Palpatine was able to control the presence of the dark side.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's strange. I mean, now that's really cool. I think it's really neat, because that means we'll also see a bunch of Jedi in this time period. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think there's obviously a lot more we can dissect there once we get closer, but
maybe she said a little too much, or maybe she said something that was supposed to be misleading.
Yes. Yeah. Which, here's the thing, that kind of, so here's a little theory then. If she's the one that says it, maybe she's involved in this infiltration.
Maybe, or maybe it's like with Tom Holland, who can't keep a secret. They just don't give him the script till the day of, and he doesn't even know what's going on until he's watching the movie.
Right. Yeah. So, and she's young, so she could pass as an apprentice, a Jedi apprentice.
Looking at the cast, you almost have to assume that she's going to be an apprentice.
Yeah. So she could easily maybe be one of the ones that is getting tempted and drawn to be that acolyte that goes back and the in-between person that feeds that information from the Jedi to the Sith. I think I gotta believe. Well, I don't know. I don't know who would play him, because.
Do you really think that Plagueis is going to be part of this?
I do. Plagueis is going to be part of this.
I hope so.
I definitely do. Now, I do question whether that they're going to keep him the same species as he was in the EU.
Right.
He was immune in the EU, which was the really kind of skinny-faced character humanoids. I would not be surprised if they went away from that and just made him a normal human. And he's one of the guys that we saw on the cast.
I almost feel like that's the best bet, because what if he goes by a different name but is a Jedi?
Well, that's true too. Yep.
And it could be a totally
we don't know that.
It's just a twist.
We don't know that. We don't know Plagueis' background.
We don't.
So, very good point. I mean, technically, we don't know if Plagueis. We technically don't know if Plagueis is a man or woman either.
Yeah, we don't. There was no. Was there a gender assigned to them?
I don't think so. All Palpatine said was "my master, my master." Or maybe he did say he. He could have said he.
I think he said he.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he did say he. Okay.
Roll tape.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think he said he could save everybody, but he couldn't save himself or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so Plagueis possibly, yeah. But anyway, Acolyte's getting shot now, so I would venture to guess if Lucasfilm follows their normal MO. Star Wars Celebration is next year in Europe. By that time, I guarantee that's when they'll probably show some footage and probably get a trailer, even though we're probably not going to get the series till 2024.
I would say we're not going to see it till 2024.
Yeah, right. But I'm excited about that one.
Heck yes. Let's see more dark side.
I know, right? Okay, so next real quick headline. The Mandalorian is officially debuting March 1st. For those of you keeping score, that is a Wednesday. Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 will be the debut of season 3 of The Mandalorian. No new footage or anything, trailer. I just saw it was kind of weird too. I saw it on Twitter. It was a tweet by Star Wars, and it just had a picture of Mando and Grogu, and it just said debuting May 1st or March 1st.
And that's what they did on Facebook too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which is strange because I was hoping, because I don't know if you noticed, but there's I think the Brazil Comic Con is going on right now. Which is
is it?
Which is apparently massive. I didn't realize how massive it was. But they've been dropping all kinds of trailers the past couple days. Like there's a new Mario Brothers movie trailer.
Did see that?
Ant-Man and the Wasp had like a little featurette. Guardians 3 came out with a new trailer. Transformers came out with a new trailer. Indiana Jones. Did you see Indiana Jones?
I didn't see it, but I saw a post for it on Facebook.
Yeah, Indiana Jones, new trailer. So it's like they drop all these new trailers, but then all of a sudden with Mando, they just released the date. And I was thinking like, wow, okay, they didn't release a trailer yet. But I think we'll get one here soon. I'll get one new one here soon.
Maybe they'll drop it Christmas Eve as an early Christmas gift.
Yes, that's possible. That's possible. So there's that. And then just dropping today, in the publishing world, Jedi Battle Scars. So Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars, which is the upcoming novel set between the two games that Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, that will be coming out as well in March. But they have released the book cover and a synopsis. So the book cover, which, pretty neat. It's got it's very colorful. You got your red, your green, your blues. You got your main characters down at the bottom here from the crew of the ship, and the Mantis. Mm-hmm. And then you've got up here in the red, you've got some Purge troopers. It looks like, but you also have a Star Wars Sith Inquisitor. Mm-hmm. That one that was very familiar, which is Fifth Brother. We just saw him in Obi-Wan recently.
Yes.
Anyway, synopsis. Now, I have not read this yet.
I have not either.
You have not either. So here, we're going to read this for the first time. Oh, this is cool. Okay. Here we go. Cal Kestis has built a new life for himself with the crew of the Stinger Mantis. Together, Cal's crew has brought down bounty hunters, defeated Inquisitors, and even invaded Darth Vader himself. More importantly, Marin, Seer, Grease, and faithful droid BD-1 are the closest thing Cal has to a family since the fall of the Jedi Order.
Oh, no.
Even as the galaxy's future grows more uncertain by the day, with each blow struck by the Empire, the Mantis crew grows more daring. On what should be a routine mission, they meet a stormtrooper determined to chart her own course with the help of Cal and the crew. In exchange for help starting a new life, the Imperial deserter brings word of a powerful, potentially invaluable tool for their fight against the Empire. And even better, she can help get them to it. The only catch? Pursuing it will bring them into the path of one of the Empire's most dangerous servants, the Inquisitor known as the Fifth Brother. Can the Imperial deserter truly be trusted? And while Cal and his friends have survived run-ins with the Inquisitors before, how many times can they evade the Empire before their luck runs out? There you go. The synopsis by Sam Magg's book, Jedi Battle Scars.
Interesting.
Yeah, so what do you think? Now,
I'm excited.
I am too. I will say that, unfortunately, this book comes out this book takes place before the game. Mm-hmm. So nothing's going to happen to Cal.
Something's going to happen to someone, though.
But what happens to somebody else, right? So.
They put such an emphasis on family in the beginning. It's like in those TV shows where they really build up like family or build up that one person, then all of a sudden they kill them off. Yeah.
Yep. That's what it definitely feels like. And then, of course, Marin is the night sister that kind of joined his crew. I like her a lot.
I like her, yeah.
Of course, you got Seer, who was the former Jedi Master, and then Grease is the pilot of the ship. So all those guys are back. This takes place, in between, like I said, in between Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. And I believe those two games have a 5-year gap. So this is like right in between, apparently, that 5 years. So.
Okay.
So, and I believe Jedi Fallen Order, if I remember correctly, Jedi Fallen Order took place 5 years after Revenge of the Sith.
It was very close to after Revenge of the Sith. It was very close.
Yeah, maybe 5 years might have been too long, but
I think 5 years. It's like between 5 or 7 years. Like it was long enough for him to be a teenager from a Padawan.
That's right.
Or a later teen, early 20s. But it wasn't so long, like 10 years.
You're right. You're right. I think it's 5, and then so you tack on another 5. You're at 10 years, which means you're at the. So that means the second game takes place during the Obi-Wan series.
Yes, it does.
So.
Huh. Are we going to get a cameo from Obi-Wan?
I don't know. I think that all things like that are possible. But who knows? Anyway, looking forward to that. That book comes out March 7th. I think the game shows up right after that in March. So I don't think it's actually been fully given a release date, but it's in March, I'm pretty sure.
Excited to play it.
Yeah. Oh man, I need to go back and play it, the first one again, just to refresh my memory on the story and whatnot. So, okay. And then of course, just a quick reminder on some upcoming releases. Of course, the next Disney Plus series, The Bad Batch Season 2, comes January 4th. So we're less than a month away. Well, I say less than a month away, even though it's December 1st right now. A little over a month away.
Close enough.
Yeah. January 4th, The Bad Batch Season 2. On the novel side, you've got, if anything, until the Battle of Jeddah, which is an audio drama, that drops January 3rd. And then you've got Jedi, what we just said, Battle Scars, March 7th. High Republic Cataclysm, April 4th. High Republic Path of Vengeance, May 2nd. And then Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade, July 18th. On the comic side, this past week, you got Darth Vader 29. Nothing next week. No. Yeah, next week you have, on December 7th, you have Hidden Empire number 2, which I started reading that. Hidden Empire, actually. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Bounty Hunters 29 on December 14th, along with The Mandalorian number 6. And then nothing on the 21st, but then on the 28th, you got the end of year, they got a big release. Dr. Aphra 27, Han and Chewbacca number 8, High Republic number 3, Yoda number 2, and then a new series, debuting that day. The High Republic called The Blade #1. So interesting. I don't know what that's about yet, but that is a new series dropping at the end of the year. So as always, just continuing to roll out all new Star Wars stuff. Lots to gobble up out there as the holidays come. Okay, so ready for some finale, Hannah?
Sure.
Okay, so episode 12 of Andor, called Rick's Road, dropped last week. Ended up being the longest episode that the series has put out. I mean, is clocked in at 56 and a half, but with credits and everything, ended up being around 40, 46, I think 47. But let's talk about it. Okay, so overall, Hannah, I know, again, I want to remind everybody you weren't that excited about this series.
Why do you have to keep on bringing this up, man?
Because I think that really matters. That it's, I don't think that's I wouldn't say that's common. I think a lot of Star Wars fans, I know you looked forward to watching it, even though you weren't that interested in it. It didn't seem like it was something that was going to draw you in as much. But of course, you're a fan. You're going to watch it. But I think that's telling for a lot of fans out there. I think, unfortunately, a lot of Star Wars fans, if they don't think they like it, I don't think they even check it out. And I think that's what I think that's what people can learn from this, is that you got to check it. You got to at least check it out. If you're a Star Wars fan, you got to at least check it out. Now, I get it that you can't read everything. You can't listen to everything. You can't play every game or something like that. But when it comes to, what we all can do, pretty much every American does, is watch TV or go to movies. It's hard to say why you wouldn't watch the show, at least give it a chance. And you did give it a chance. You ended up really liking what you saw. So with that, how did this series to you end with this episode?
I mean, if anybody listening to this has not seen the first episode of Andor, just give it a chance. Give it a chance. I mean, today I rewatched with my family the first couple of episodes, first 6 episodes, actually, just binged them. My nice. Parents and my sister haven't seen it yet. And they were hooked. Because at first they're like, but now they're like, okay, this is really good. So just give it a chance. Give it a chance. The beauty of it being streaming is you can always stop it. You can always turn it off. You can always change it to something else.
Right.
With this finale episode, I think Rick's Road is the perfect title to it. Because, rewatching it again, Luthen brings up Rick's Road. He mentioned that Andor's father was hung there. He's like, oh, so what do you think they're going to do? They're going to take me out. So Rick's Road is kind of like the end point. It's very much of, that's a decision you make, and that's the decision you're going to be sticking with the rest of your life. It's almost like a crossroads, but there really isn't a choice. You're stuck and you have to make a choice. And that's your final decision. And I think that is that's such an appropriate title between Mon, between Luthen, between Andor, and between the people of that planet. And, Marva made her final choice. She made her final stand. It's up there with one of the best speeches of all time, in my opinion, along there with Andy Serkis's character. I mean, it's a great way to end a series, but it's also the worst way to end a series. So I'm really glad that we got confirmation there is a season 2, because what a way to end a series.
Yes.
Why end it like that? But it's powerful. So I wish season 2 was coming out in January.
I know. Yeah. Or even just next year.
I don't even care. Like, just not for a very, it's going to be like, how long it's going to be? A year?
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. So,
yeah. Yeah. No.
How about you?
Yeah, to be honest, I was a little mixed about it when I first watched it. And the only reason I was mixed about it was I felt like, and I kind of still do, but I think I understand it more as I watched it a couple more times, but I feel like some of the characters were more observers in this episode than actually part of the story. And what I mean by that is, I mean, Luthen didn't really do anything. He literally was an observer.
Yeah, but he was going to try to kill Andor.
Well, going to try, yes, but that's what I'm saying. He didn't do anything. Dedra didn't really do anything. She kind of walked around and ended up in the middle of this riot. And only survived because of Cyril, which we'll talk about here. Those were kind of, and then even what's her name? Vel didn't do anything. Cinta did something, which was pretty shocking, but besides that, she was kind of on the outside. So, I mean, this was what I liked about it as I rewatched it was it truly came full circle from how we started. We started with Bix. We started with Cassian, and we started with Brasso. So, and we started with the kid, I can't remember his name, but and his father, who ended up dying last couple episodes. So the show does come back to that, which when you're binging, I feel like it's like, oh yeah, I remember them, but when you're week to week, you got to remember that these characters were the ones we got introduced to, and so that I felt really tied the series, the season together really well. Like we got the conclusion of the people that started this thing, not necessarily the people that we got introduced later to. Because remember Deidre, we didn't get to her till what? Did you? I don't even know if she was in the first arc.
I feel like we got introduced to her in 3, but maybe
3,
it wasn't
maybe
until
4.
4.
Yeah, I don't know. Because Cyril, we got obviously the first episode. But his character is actually it was really weird how he was interwoven throughout this season. But anyway, so at first I was like, okay, it's I felt like there was going to be a big collision of characters in this. And it really wasn't. I mean, in fact, if you think about it, the Empire doesn't even know Andor was even there. Mm-hmm. No one saw him. So, so they didn't really accomplish what they were trying to accomplish. He got what he wanted, which is he saved his friends. And then I thought the beauty of what Luthen brought to it today in this episode was that he ended up witnessing what he's been building for, which that look in his face, again, the brilliance of Stellan Skarsgård, to see that look on his face when, Marva's talking and people are getting riled up and he's like, oh, wow. He's like, this is happening. This is actually happening around the galaxy. And I thought that's all I needed from him though, so it's like, he didn't have to be involved because that was his involvement. His involvement was what Ferrix was doing at that point. So anyway, so in the end, after watching it a couple more times, I was like, okay, I get it. I understand it. I understand. It may not be what I thought was going to happen and what I wanted to happen, but it actually completely makes sense with the way it was driving the entire season with these characters. So I liked it. I mean, I probably wouldn't, when I was doing Mandalore, we rated, I didn't rate it a 10, I rated it a 9. But it's still pretty dang good.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think it's necessarily the season finale that everybody expected, but you still walk away satisfied. And I think part of it is also because a season 2 is coming. So it's not like is a season 2 going to happen? Or is this just how it ends? But I think you're right. I think it's full circle, but I also think it also really does dive deep into what the rebellion really was, because the rebellion didn't happen overnight. You didn't have one leader come out of nowhere leading this group of rebels and attacking all these places in a coordinated way. I mean, the beauty of watching this thing from the beginning all over again is like, oh my gosh, it really is chaos. And I think that's what the last episode shows, is that everything is just chaos. Nothing's clear cut. Everyone's just like, yep, this isn't right. Let's just go for it. And there's no one leading it.
Yeah.
And yes, there are people who are like, they're standbys. They're just watching it happen. But that's because they're watching it happen. That's part of chaos, is not just the people involved in the chaos, but it's also people watching the chaos and not doing anything.
Right.
Whether it's because they don't know what they need to do. So I think it's just a very unique and different way to end a series.
Yeah.
But it's still satisfying.
End of season.
Yeah. That's right. Not a series. It's not the end of the series. End of a season. If that was the end of the series, I think I would be very disappointed. But.
Yeah, because I agree with you. I think I was kind of leaning more towards them doing more of a conclusion to the season.
Right.
Kind of what Mandalorian does. I feel like Mandalorian has a conclusion, even though season 2 is probably, or season 3 is possible. But each of those seasons kind of comes to an end, Well,
when did we know season 2 of Mandalorian was confirmed?
We actually didn't. Not until after it was done.
Yeah, so I feel like with that, there's a reason behind that.
True. There could have been, yes.
And maybe they pulled a Lord of the Rings with this. I don't know if they did or did not. But maybe they pulled a Lord of the Rings where they already filmed part of season 2.
That's possible. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had it mapped out. Maybe they didn't know if they were going to do it or not. Yeah. But with this, but even if knowing that they were going to do a season 2, I thought, okay, well, we'll wrap this up, but, and then we did at some point. I mean, I think, again, the characters that wrapped were Bix and Brasso and the kid, but you still left doors open with Luthen, with Deidre, with Mothma, which we kind of knew Mothma. I think Mothma's kind of a side note, which we'll talk about, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it was left open, saying, "See you back for season 2." I totally get that vibe whenever I see the end of it.
Absolutely. But question: so this is the longest episode. All the other episodes are roughly the same time, right?
Yeah, they're between 35 and 45 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, then do you think? Because I'm just throwing this out there. If we didn't have the Mothma scene where her daughter meets that other boy, and if we didn't have the scene where Andor and Luthen at the end, if we cut those two scenes entirely, would it have been a wrapped up season?
If you cut out the Mothma scene and the Luthen at the end.
Yes. If you were to cut those two out, would that be satisfying enough to say, okay, we know Cyril's purpose. We see Deidre kind of getting humbled a bit. We see Luthen realizing what's going on. Andor helps his friends, but he feels like he has a mission to do. Mom Mothma is, doing her thing. Would that have been?
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Totally. Yeah. I think yes, except I think Andor would have had to get on the ship with them to leave.
So do you think they filmed an alternate scene? And then because they're like, yep, we got approved for season 2, they quickly threw in...
That's possible. That's definitely possible.
That's my thought. What if you threw in those scenes and threw in that alternate scene? But if you didn't throw in the alternate scene, that's how... And you took those 2 scenes out, it would have been roughly the same length of all the other episodes. And it would have had a satisfactory ending. So do you think maybe that's what they did?
It's possible. I think it's possible for sure. I think the only thing I would think, like you said already, is that maybe they already knew they were going to do a season 2, so this was probably wrapped out. But but I was curious when he, took them to the ship and then walked away. Part of me didn't go right away to him tracking down Luthen.
Oh,
no. Yeah. Part of me was like, he was going to go do something else, and, like go after Deidre or go after some Imperial or something. But so that was a little different, but, for me, but I got an interesting, question for you that I thought about.
Okay.
So in the whole mix of the whatever the battle between the people of Ferrix and the Empire, did you realize that? Which I thought, again, this comes back to the whole like viewpoint of the Empire. Did you realize that the first person to kill anybody in that thing was actually the people of Ferrix?
I did notice that. I noticed very interestingly that the troopers didn't fire.
That's right.
Until they were told to, which wasn't until
after the explosion
was killed.
Yeah, it was after the explosions.
I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, I didn't. Okay. I was like,
yeah.
Huh. So either they're really well trained like soldiers should be. Like here's my thing, and maybe like this is obviously a whole nother episode to go into, but this and the books have changed my mind about the Empire. Because I don't necessarily think they're all bad people.
Yeah, okay.
They're just people trying to do their jobs.
That's right.
Like anybody else would.
Yes.
So, yeah, I did find that very interesting.
I did right away because I was thinking like when Marva's going off on her thing and, like you said, her speech was top notch. It was a great, just slow build up from being this really sincere, genuine, thanks and love for Ferrix and the people of Ferrix, and then all of a sudden it just turns to this like, the great line of "We've been sleeping," I've been sleeping, and it's like, wow, and then like all these people, you can feel the people, like just the tension of the people just building, and I'm like, oh man, she's rallying. I was like, it's gonna explode. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but when that Imperial officer comes in and tries to cover her up, and then he kicks B over, and then a fight breaks out, I'm thinking, okay, they're just going to start unloading on these guys. But they didn't. And I was surprised by that. I was like, okay, so they're just doing what normal police do, where they're trying to stop the rioting, right? And then all of a sudden, the kid pulls the bomb out, and I'm like, oh man, there it goes. And as soon as that happened, I thought to myself right away, I'm like, they caused this. Like they caused this fight.
They absolutely did.
So it does make the rebellion in a sense, or I mean, it does justify some of the viewpoints that if you dive into the books and the comics and stuff like that, there's a lot of viewpoints from the people that are in the Empire that think the rebellion are a bunch of terrorists. And you clearly have that the people that are they clearly have that viewpoint.
And I think that's why Luthen's so pleased about it. Because it's very clear Luthen is the one who inspired Saw Gerrera to do what he does. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So absolutely, what they were like, and I think that's the beauty that Mon brings to this equation. Is she doesn't think that's right.
Yeah, right.
She thinks there's a different way to go about it. But then what we see in A New Hope is there's a beautiful balance between the two. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They fight, but it's no longer in a terroristic. Because I would agree that is totally borderlining on a terroristic attack.
Yes, although that's the thing too, is I think we have seen glimpses of, we have seen other parts of the galaxy where the Empire is a tyrannical type of government, right? We definitely know that, and we've seen that, but a lot of people in the galaxy haven't seen it. That's the problem. We got to think about the average normal person that's doing their 9 to 5, trying to make a living. They don't come across the Empire like most people do, and whatnot. And especially if you're inside the inner rim and the core worlds. I mean, look at Coruscant. Like, it's still a beautiful looking city. There's not like people under martial law there at all. They're free to live their life.
If you were to turn on the news, objectively, if you were to turn on the news and see that rally from beginning to end, your immediate thought would be, wow, those people attacked the police. Those people attacked the military.
Right. Yes.
That is exactly what you would think. You might not jump to, those are terrorists. You might not jump that far, but you definitely would jump to the point of, oh my gosh, they attacked the police.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why I'm starting to lean towards the way that Mothma has to be involved in this thing.
Mm-hmm. She has to pull it back.
Well, not only pull it back, but I believe she has to be the one to open people's eyes to what the Empire is really doing. Because just like you said, there's going to be especially a ton of senators that are going to be like, man, the people of Ferrix, they're out there. They need to all be either arrested or tried for treason or something. But she's got to be the one, I feel like, on Coruscant and in the Senate. And we know that she does. We know that someone does, but apparently it's her. She's got to open their eyes to what the Empire is actually doing. And that comes from Luthen and Andor and these others, because we know that the Senate still survives this. The Senate is going to be around up until A New Hope, and and there is a discussion in A New Hope where they're saying that the rebellion grows inside the Senate because more and more senators will become aware. So how do they become aware? I think it's got to be Mothma that's making them aware.
It has to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just really, really found that interesting in this episode, because Luthen, again, like you said, Luthen is watching all this happen. And as Marva's doing that speech, he's like, you can just see it. He's like, wow, this is working. Like whatever we've been doing, which is building these networks and getting people to understand what the cause is, and then what the Empire is doing to the galaxy. These people are finally seeing it, and they felt it too. They already felt it. It wasn't just from Marva. They knew. That's the thing. What we didn't see is all the things that Marva was saying, which was, we let them in just because they gave us jobs, because they, but they slowly been like incorporating themselves more and more without us noticing. And they've been taking our freedoms, and we're willingly given to them because, again, we're kind of turning a blind eye, and we're getting money from what they're giving us and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, but she's like, I'm not doing that anymore. And so it's almost like this big manipulation, and Luthen's big thing was like, they're ruling out of fear. They're afraid that people are going to see who they really are. But you're right, though. There's still a huge number of Imperials that are just there to make a living.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing that I feel like it's so great about Star Wars, in a sense, is that there truly is certain points of view, and you got to really just take a step back and remember that it's not just rebellion. Good, the rebellion's good and the Empire's evil. I mean, there's good and bad people on both sides.
Well, I mean, just with that alone, I would bet a nickel that every single person that was a part of the Imperial side of that was like, oh my gosh, they're out of control. They're trying to kill us. Where is this coming from? Like, so yeah.
Absolutely. So, I guess any thoughts at all? Like, what if I know we kind of have no real clue where the season 2 goes, but is there anything particular you want to see in season 2?
I want to see Luthen's saber because I am still convinced that he is a Jedi.
Yeah. I'm leaning that way too, to be honest, because I still can't think of anybody else the reason why they would be so angry and defiant against the Empire than someone that was a former Jedi. I don't know. I'm kind of there with you. I'm kind of there with you.
I want to see a saber. The other, on a more serious note, the other thing is I do, like, don't get me wrong. I'm very curious about where Cassian goes after this. How does he end up in the rebellion? All of that. I really want to know, though, what happened with Mothma's family.
Yeah.
Because nowhere, I don't know about you, but nowhere else where I have read or watched or listened have I heard anything about Mon being married or having a daughter.
Nope.
So I want to know what happens there. Like, does she have to choose between the two? Did she put them in hiding so that they could be sick? Like, what happens?
Yes, agreed. Yeah, I don't know about that either. I'm curious about that.
What else are you curious about?
Well, again, yeah, I'm not. I don't know about curiosity, but I guess I am curious in the sense that I wonder if they're gonna finally bring back some familiar faces, like as we get closer to A New Hope. Like, I was surprised we didn't get Bail Organa in this season. I feel like he's got to come at some point. Jimmy Spence has got to be back for this at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like we should probably, even though I don't know if they'll have the money to do it, maybe, but I feel like they'll have to bring Tarkin somehow.
Oh.
I do think it's 100% possible. I do think it's 100% that Krennic will come back.
Yes.
But that's what I'm curious about is, are they going to start bringing, we obviously know K2 is going to be in this season.
Yes.
Which I'm looking forward to. But what familiar faces will we see? That's what I'm like, what would be awesome?
Mm-hmm. What?
Is to see Bail and the same Leia character, the same Leia, little girl that played Leia. Right?
Dang it, Disney, make it happen.
Right? So,
or maybe
will we get a glimpse of the Ghost Crew?
Oh.
Right? When the Alliance finally comes together.
Ahsoka?
Possible. Definitely think that's possible. I mean, they've casted the live action versions of Rebels, so I mean, come on.
Are we gonna get Thrawn?
I think that's possible. Why not? I mean, why not? I mean, I really think, that's the thing too, is you could, is that fan service? Probably. Is it going to work in like the storyline of Cassian? Maybe not. But at some point, we are going to start getting more Rebel activity, more Rebel bases. And, these people are at these bases. So
yeah,
I think it'd be cool.
One other thing I really do hope that we get is an answer to Cassian's sister, because I don't accept the throwaway line of she's gone.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's going to play into it too. Yep.
Is Deidre? Is there any way Deidre could be his sister?
Oh my God. I guess there's a possibility.
I mean, I know she's blonde, but people dye their hair because we get that in what Vi. We get that from Vi. She dyes her hair.
Yeah. That would be a very interesting twist. Wow.
Like I've been sitting on that one for the whole season because I was like,
really?
Well, yeah, because when I first met her, I'm like, actually, literally, when she started becoming a prominent character, and I think in an earlier episode, I said Deidre was the only girl in that room. That's not true. There was another woman in that room. Oh. But still, clearly more male dominant than female dominant. So good for her. But when we started following her more, I'm like, is she Cassian's sister? Like it just. But then I don't know. She seems I don't know. It was just a thought I had.
That'd be an interesting twist. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so. Because she might be a little too light skinned, but who knows?
Right. Yeah, I'd have to look back at that. I think Canary is where he's from.
Yes.
Look back and see what all those kids look like. So. I think his sister had dark hair, but like you said.
Yeah, I thought she had dark hair. I thought she was a little darker skinned like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I don't know. That just was a thought that.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we finished looking at his past, she showed up.
That's true.
So I don't know.
I know that's true. Well, anyway, that's the end of season 1 of Andor. We will be obviously looking forward to season 2, which won't be here in a couple of years, but got plenty of Star Wars before that. We got Bad Batch coming. We got Ahsoka coming. We got season 3 of Mandalorian coming. We got this show called The Skeleton Crew next year that's coming. And then 2024 we'll get Acolyte and Andor season 2 and probably another show. More Tales of the Jedi, hopefully.
Please.
Yes. So, I don't know if you've thought about it, Hannah, but overall, of all the Disney Plus shows, where is this rank on your list?
It's up there with Mandalorian.
Really?
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Like Mandalorian in general or a certain season of Mandalorian?
Season 1 of Mandalorian.
Season 1 of Mandalorian. Okay.
How about you?
So you think season 1 was better than season 2?
Of Mandalorian, yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Season 2 of Mandalorian was pretty good.
It was like right now for me, 1 and 2, like it flips depending on what mood I'm in. It's Mandalorian and Andor. And then 3 is Mandalorian season 2.
I would have to say, honestly, I'll probably say this is my favorite series. This is my favorite series.
Even more than Obi-Wan.
Yes. Well, okay, let me rephrase my answer. I think this is the best series. I think this is the best Star Wars series.
Yeah, I might have to agree with you on that one.
Obi-Wan is probably still my favorite series.
Okay, so you're talking objectively and subjectively.
Correct. Yes.
I might have to agree with you. I think objectively Andor is the best Disney Plus Star Wars series. Subjectively, I'd have to flip between that and Mandalorian depending on my mood. Yeah.
As far as favorite goes, I'd probably say Obi-Wan and then probably like you. That's where I get into Andor or Mandalorian. It's like, I don't know. Which is crazy because Bad Batch is really good.
It's really good. Like Bad Batch for me is number 4.
Yeah. And if you count Tales of the Jedi as a series,
but can you really count that as a series?
Probably. I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I mean,
listeners, would you count it as a series? Comment below and let us know.
yeah, no kidding. I mean, it is listed as a Star Wars series now.
Oh, is it? Oh,
I mean, it's short. I mean,
but it's not really.
I mean, there's stories there. I mean, there's, you know, it's shorts, so maybe it's just characterized as shorts. But there's, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably not. But
We'll put that
in a
in
traditional
short
sense. In a traditional sense, it's not.
Okay.
So we're talking about. I mean, technically, we're talking about season 7 of Clone Wars, which was incredible.
That was, but in watching it again with my husband, like, don't get me wrong, it's still mind-blowing. It's still fantastic. It's still just the fight between Ahsoka and Maul is one of the best saber fights. But rewatching it, especially after binge watching all of Clone Wars, there are still so many loose ends that are not tied up, and I know that they had to pick and choose. Like I totally get that. I get you only had one season to wrap it all up.
Right.
Completely understand it. Completely get it. But objectively, also the thing was that was Zach's first introduction into Bad Batch, and he pointed out something that I did not notice until he pointed it out, is that in the Bad Batch episodes that you watched, the majority of what you wanted to see, like them in action, them working together, they didn't show that. They showed more of the intercut scenes.
Right.
Which aren't necessarily the parts you want to see. It was a very weird way.
There were more arcs of the Bad Batch that weren't ever done.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, it's because they had to wrap everything up in one season and also kind of introduce the Bad Batch. So we got their episodes later.
Right.
So while I agree that it's personally, I think a fantastic season of a show, objectively, you can't really say that.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that.
No, I will always stand by that. After watching that season 7 is, yes, Filoni was able to conclude the Clone Wars, but he wasn't able still to complete the Clone Wars.
Yes, that's a very good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's not fully finished. Unfortunately, we probably will never be, but I mean, maybe. I mean, if we get into more Tales of the Jedi stuff, maybe, I don't know. It's possible the Bad Batch may, again, probably solve a bunch of answer some. I don't know. But to say the Clone Wars is a complete series, no, I don't think anybody would say that. So
no, and I think that needs to be one of the qualifying aspects.
True.
To be considered for a great series, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Great talks there. Let us know what you think about all that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Of course, we're on all the podcast feeds out there, and we're on YouTube with all of our other shows. And then, of course, on Patreon, if you want to contribute. Again, thanks to all our current Patreons. But go to patreon.com/InsideForce. Look at our tiers there. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about as the weeks go by. Look for some new Beyond the Sagas with me and Hannah. Got some Dark Knowledges in the works too, and Council Sessions. Got all of our shows going right now. So check back to YouTube and watch all those. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back next week. Take care. Have a great weekend. Hope everybody stays safe out there. Hannah, as always, thanks all.
And thank you.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you. Have a great week. May the Force be with you.